Hey, what's up, Hoover? And welcome to an episode of Mr. Jeremy Makes. I am Mr. Jeremy, and I want to show you how to make one of these. These are really cool Shrinky dinks, and obviously they're patterned by Among Us, and we know they all love Among Us, and so do I. And what a great time to start making some crafts, and you can send this off as presents or keep them for yourself and hide them around the house. So let's get started. First thing you're going to need is a clear takeout container. And this is your typical containers from your Chinese takeout. It has a nice clear top, which is where our shrinking dink's gonna be at. You're only gonna need the top half, and right here at the bottom half is textured, and you don't want that one, so we're gonna toss that one out. You just need that one right there. That's the one. And this is your typical takeout boxes that you can find anywhere in Chinese restaurants or some of your takeout. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna rip that top off, and yeah, we're gonna shuck this one away. Nope, no need for that anymore. And we just need this top, and nice and clear and clean. Also make sure that your plastic container has the number 6, which signifies polystyrene plastic. The first thing we're gonna do to set up our Shrinky Dink is to use a Sharpie or a black permanent marker for the outline. We're going to need a template of your choice, and we're going to have this in our Beacon website for you to download from. And obviously we're going to need our takeout boxes. When choosing your template, make sure your template has nice, clear, defining lines. We're going to be using our Sharpie to outline the edges for our character. And when we're putting our clear top on, we want to make sure that it falls within the flat areas of the top of the takeout boxes. That would define the border that you need to keep your character within. And later on we're going to show you how we're going to cut it out. But first we're going to have to draw in our character by keeping it firmly down and outlining with our black Sharpie on where the character borders are. So let's get going. One point to note: if you're using the egg hat, please make sure that you don't black out the egg yolk. This next step is completely optional. If you want to go back in and clean up those black lines, it will make our final product a lot more cleaner. And this is mostly just making sure that all the black outline is nice and solid and has nice clean edges. So this is totally optional depending on how well you do it the first time. Before putting on your color, good way to make sure that things work out is to use your extra space within that clear setting to test out those colors to make sure that the ink translates over well. Now we come to the fun part, coloring it in. Any marker will work just fine, though the best results come from permanent markers if you can find any. These are from the dollar store, and right now we're just going to do a quick run through and fill in that egg yolk, which is a very simple orange color. So let's go ahead and fill that up first. Now comes the tricky part. We know that our Among Us characters have two-tone shading, so we're going to test out our colors and make sure they work out well. This color right here looks just okay. It's alright. But we're going to go ahead and try to shade in the darker side since I have the lighter blue on hand. So we'll just go ahead and shade that in. And now it's time for our lighter shade for our lens. And don't worry about that little white reflection glare that we have on the lens. We just want to fill this in as best we can. Once again, using permanent marker if available to fill in those colors. Now, obviously, you want to be able to get the best shape possible. So depending on what you got, you might have to choose one certain type of color. So we're going to go brown since this is a color that I am readily have available. We're going to use a dark one first and try to put in that dark shade in, except this is very, very light. So we're going to see how this works. If not, I might switch over to the permanent marker. And once again, draw in your lines ahead of time so you know where to fill in. And let's get started. And now we're going to take our lighter shade of brown and fill in the top half where the light has been cast on, with the hopes that this is going to blend in nicely. So let's give it a try. As you can see, the colors doesn't blend in quite well. So what we're going to do is we're going to press that color in by shading it in and rubbing it onto the plastic. Now this part gets a little tricky. You're going to need a pair of scissors and you're going to rough cut it along the black line as best you can around the character. You want to make sure that it has plenty of space so that you give yourself enough room for to make mistakes. So let's cut this guy out right now. Now that we got a rough cut, time to go in to do a fine cut and try to go along that border as close as possible without going in too deep. So let's get started on that. All right, so your little Shrinky Dink Among Us astronaut is pretty much ready to go. The next step is to put it into toaster, introduce it to some heat. We need a toaster oven, or if you don't have a toaster oven, oven would work just fine. Although hair dryer might, but then it's not as very stable. So toaster oven will be best. You're gonna need some parchment paper or wax paper, and this prevents the plastic from sticking onto your hand, your baking sheet. So what you need to do is, already got some parchment. It's already cut oddly, but it's okay. It works just fine. Put your little astronaut on here and pop it into the toaster. All right. What you need to do is ink side up. Put it ink side up. Put it on your parchment paper and carefully put it into your toaster oven. Obviously, my toaster oven is not on, so I can totally stick my hand in it. But please, do not do that. Don't stick your hand in the toaster oven when it's on. Be smart. No need to preheat. Okay, and away we go. So while we're waiting, it'll be cool for you to check out, see how the plastic shrinks. So let's check it out. Brown is so sus right now. All right, now it's all done. Letting it really adjust to the heat, and it's all nice and now. So very carefully, you can take your Shrinky Dink out. Please ask your parents to help you out with this step if needed. And there you go. Now that little brown astronaut with pink on top. All right, and with that, I hope you learned a little bit about how to make a Shrinky Dink. It's totally easy, totally fun. You can actually pattern out to anything you want. We will have these patterns for you up on the website, so please check it out. Ask your program leader about it, and I'll see you next time. And thank you for watching this episode of Mr. Jeremy Makes. See ya.